Hola, muy buenas roleros, aquí estamos con el capítulo número 6 de Elex y bueno, vamos a continuar pues donde lo dejamos, ¿no? Que fue que habíamos terminado, bueno, habíamos encontrado la ciudad de los clérigos por fin, habíamos conseguido empezar la cadena de misiones que nos lleva a poder entrar dentro de la ciudad y en consecutiva poder terminar uniéndonos a la facción de los clérigos y bueno, vamos a continuar. Tengo el micro esta vez en otro sitio colocado, más enfrente mía, a ver si se me escucha un poco mejor, porque en los anteriores gameplays he estado viendo que se me escucha, pero no sé, me da la sensación de que no se me termina de escuchar bien o que se escucha el audio un poco lejos. Así que espero que... También he subido un poquito la ganancia, espero no haberme pasado ahora. Ya me contaréis si no os importa, o bueno, aunque yo supongo que por mi cuenta haré mis pruebas y miraré un poquito. Si alguno me puede comentar algo, si lo cree necesario, pues estoy abierto a que me comentéis si se me escucha bien o si no hacía falta o si ahora se me escucha demasiado. Así que nada, lo dicho, vamos a entrar. De hecho, vamos a meternos en el panel de misiones, papeles falsos. Vamos a marcarlo para que nos lo marque dentro de la ciudad. Y entiendo que ahora mismo con lo que tenemos, cuando hablemos con el guardia de la entrada, debería dejarnos pasar.
Halt! Not a step further. No one is allowed into the city without an entry permit.
Interesante. Podríamos delatar directamente a los proscritos que están ahí esperando y coger y enseñar la identificación falsa. Entiendo que haciendo esto, a lo mejor sería otra manera de entrar. Supongo que podría influenciar en una mecánica que tiene el juego que es entre frialdad y no sé con lo otro, que básicamente determina un poco cómo sigues teniendo algo de albos, ¿no? Porque supuestamente los albos se caracterizan por ser tíos sin sentimientos, fríos, que en plan solo calculadores y se rigen simplemente por los actos y por lo que creen que es lo mejor para cada situación. No se dejan llevar por los sentimientos, supuestamente ni por el amor, ni por el odio, ni por la envidia. Y se supone que todo eso es derivado del consumo de Elex, ¿vale? Y se supone que tú al empezar a dejar de consumir Elex, que empiezas, pues como dicen al principio del juego, empiezas a volver a tener un tono de piel normal, porque al consumir Elex, en plan como lo hacen los salvos, se vuelve la piel pálida, grisácea. Pues te dan la opción esa de, digamos, seguir teniendo un comportamiento albos, por decirlo de alguna manera, o un comportamiento más humano. Entiendo que esto me subiría la frialdad, entiendo, pero diríamos que sería otra manera, creo, de conseguir la confianza de los clérigos y por lo cual también poder entrar. Supongo, pero no liarla con esto, porque en principio no quiero hacer esta opción. Dar con la identificación, continuar con la misión que tenemos abierta y ya desde adentro ganarnos la confianza de los clérigos. Pues es que me da miedo, tío, porque no, ya digo, quiero unirme a esta facción y no sé si las dos son válidas o dependiendo de lo que haga, alguna me puede terminar mal y hacer que no me pueda unir a ellos. Bueno, una opción sería guardar y probar. Pero tampoco quiero hacer eso porque quiero darle un poco de emoción y de consecuencias a las elecciones que tenga. Venga, no voy a ir tampoco de demasiado frío ni de hijo de puta. Voy a intentar entrar como en un principio teníamos pensado entrar.
I have an entry ID. Let me through.
Really? I thought I knew all the ones that had been issued. And you were here asking about getting ID before. So tell me where you got this one.
Esto sería mentir demasiado. Hostias, aquí se está complicando la historia. Seamos sinceros. A ver, todavía estoy a tiempo de si algo me sale mal cargar de donde hemos empezado. Voy a ser honesto. A ver qué pasa.
It's a counterfeit. It's a fake ID.
The fake? Then it's a good one. I normally spot those right off. Well, I'll have to confiscate this. But what to do with you now? Seeing as you played it straight with me, you get lucky. I'll issue you with a valid ID. Just make sure you take this fake straight to Eric when you get inside, right? And that's not a request. Oh, and there are some rules I need to tell you before you enter. First, stay away from the generators. Nobody but the technicians is allowed access to them. That sort of security is why we need to keep a rein on fake IDs. So take that fake straight to Eric, okay? Anyone you meet in the city who hasn't got proper documents, report them to him. We can only keep peace in the city if we all work together. We keep the city secure. That's what was laid down by the Great Council of Magalan. And the Great Council gave the clerics the responsibility for guaranteeing the city's independence. That means everyone is welcome here until they cause trouble. So keep the peace while you're in there. Our suggesters are busy enough without you adding to their workload. And that's it. They pass.
What's happening in the city?
Nothing right now, but it's simmering. You can feel it. There was something building even before we let those Alp separatists in here. They just lit the touch paper. But hey, we're supposed to be a sanctuary, so someone decided to open the gates and let the separatists in.
How many separatists are there in the city?
Too many. Once an Alb, always an Alb. They still hit Elix. Just a matter of time before they turn back. I don't know what they want in the city. I'd heard a bunch of them had set up a base in the west of Abessa, so they could have gone there. If we weren't so busy here, we'd have tracked them down and cleared them out of Abessa. Last thing we need is Zakor thinking we're harboring rebels.
What's a suggester?
Our suggesters are the reason things remain peaceful in the city. If someone causes trouble, then they're either thrown out, see a suggester for reorientation, or both. But don't worry, it's a positive experience that will leave you happy about life.
¿Cómo suena
Even
eso?
so, I recommend avoiding it.
Where can I find Eric?
Just go straight down the path into the inner city. You should find him there.
You mentioned the Council of Magalan.
The Great Council, yes. You'll have to speak to Judicator Alois if you want to know more about that. I'm not that well informed on my history.
Who's Alois?
Alois is the Judicator in charge of the city. You'll find him in the castle. He likes to stay close to the generators.
I heard you hold people prisoner if they can't prove their identities.
Of course. Need a valid ID to enter or to leave. It's important we keep the right balance here, and that we can hold people accountable. We've worked hard to keep things running here. We can't start letting people flood in, or the troublemakers will take over. Anyone who tries to get around with ID is given straight to the suggesters to be taken care of.
Vale, ya podemos entrar en la ciudad. Se supone que tenemos libre entrada y salida porque tenemos una... un pase auténtico. Ahora bien, vamos a mirar esto. Papeles falsos. Mejor dentro de la ciudad de la cúpula puede dar una identificación falsa bajo la condición de que lleve el proscrito llamado Cooper, que está dentro de la ciudad. La necesita para escapar. Le he dicho al guardia Gregory que se suponía que debía colar la identificación falsa. A cambio me ha dado una identificación legal. Tengo que llevar la identificación falsa a Erich. Él sabrá qué hacer con ella y me dará más instrucciones. Se las hemos liado a los proscritos, pero bueno, a ver. Siendo un poco sincero, me da un poquito de pena, porque parece ser que estos proscritos quieren tener una vida un poco más normal, pero... La verdad es que la facción de los proscritos justamente es la facción que más asquete me da del juego.
Hey, you.
Let me guess. I'm not allowed into the upper quarter?
What? No, everyone's allowed to move about freely here. I just have a question for you. You got here recently, right? I just want to know what things are like outside the dome. What's going on up there? Are the Alps attacking?
Why do you ask?
I'm interested. We're cut off here under the dome, safe from the world outside. So they pass us by like a river around a rock. Kalan gave us the knowledge, and now look what we've achieved. A safe harbor for all people. The clerics and Ignodons say we've strayed. I say we've found the true path.
You built the dome?
I designed the plans for it. Then we built it together. My name is Eric, by the way. Chief engineer here in the dome. I'm in charge of all the generators and technicians who oversee them.
Why don't the clerics have a dome like this in Ignodon?
The dome requires immense amounts of energy, and the fluctuations in it have to be constantly balanced. The technology is complex. That means there's no way to cover the Hort with a shield like this. Besides, the cliffs around Hort give it a natural protection.
Can this dome survive an Albatech?
Of course. Why do you think we built it? As long as we can maintain a constant energy flow, then they can't get in. Unfortunately, achieving that isn't so easy. Some of the energy regulators are starting to malfunction again.
Malfunctioning energy regulators sound dangerous.
Of course they are. Outside of frying yourself if you try to adjust them. If we were attacked right now, the whole dome would go critical.
I have a forged ID for you.
Are you trying to get me angry? Let me guess. Gregor, the dome guard, sent you. I told him 1,000 times I'm not responsible for these things. Alois is the city's supervisor. You should report such matters to him. Go on, go and play Gregor's messenger boy.
He escogido el bando en el conflicto de Ablesa. Puede ser tu borde. Vuelve a decirme lo que tengo que hacer y te mato.
I will take the ID to Alois.
Ah, no, it's all right. It's all right. Just give it here. I'll take care of it. Shit, I'm sorry I bit your head off. It's just I've got enough to deal with without getting bogged down in the petty stuff. But Gregor keeps sending me every task he comes across. If there's trouble with the generators or the dome, then I'm your man. I have enough to deal with without counterfeit passes or toilet breaks for guards or shortages of hinges in the West Quarter. Still, that's not your problem. Thank you for bringing me the pass. Please, take your reward for honorable service to the dome. I'll check to see who this ID was customized for. Then a suggester can take care of the rest. Deceit like this can only lead us to uncovering a greater lie.
Se la acabamos de liar al Cooper este que flipa, chaval.
About the broken energy regulators. I will help you with the energy regulators.
I wanted to do it myself, but do you really think you could handle it? So, let's find out who you are. You should go to Ignadon one day. You could be a good cleric. Yeah, I know, I left Ignadon behind, but they could offer you better training than I could. I have the energy regulator here. Please, take it to Lutz and help him to install it. Come back to me when you're done.
Vale. La primera misión de los clérigos, medidas de seguridad, la marcamos. Pero vamos, se la acabamos de liar que flipas al Cooper ese.
Hey you, I heard you speaking to Eric. He gave you an energy regulator for the dome, right? Give it to me, will you? Very soon now, you're going to need the right sort of friend, and giving that to me will earn you that.
Why do you want the regulator?
Haven't you noticed the tension here? All the anger and the plotting? It scares the hell out of me. So I want a way out of here if things go wrong. A sort of back door. I want to modify the regulator so I can drop a section of the dome and get out if things go bad. Let me modify it. Then I'll give it back to you so you can get it to where it needs to be. You've got to see why I'd want a way out, yeah? So do we have a deal?
What's in it for me if I help you?
Profit is profit. I respect that attitude. What do you think about 100 shards?
I won't give you the regulator.
Then you've blown your chance. And don't come back to me and ask for help when no one will let you out of here.
Hasta luego, pringao. Yo voy a hacer las misiones que quiero ser un clérigo, chaval. Aquí dentro estará el pibe. Joder, tío. ¿Dónde está el tío?
Are you coming to see me?
Espérate, tío. No sé, me estoy volviendo gilipollas. Eris quiere que lleve la pieza de repuesto a la cúpula y se la entregues al técnico Lutz. Vale, es este pibe.
Keep your hands off my machines. Any accidents are gonna be dangerous for me, you, and the whole city. The energy regulators are screwed. The surge gauge is failing and I can't see why. And now the shield profiler is returning a really strange set of values. Altogether, that makes for one dangerous set of problems that could fry both of us if the wrong bit of kit gets jolted. And I'm the one who has to fix all this. Ah, shit, I can't even sort out the replacement parts until I have this stabilized.
Eric sent me.
Thank Kalan. Do you have the energy regulator?
Yes. Here.
Perfect. That looks great. Thanks. Thanks for getting that. I'll install it immediately. You better get back to Eric. You can tell him I'm putting it in right now.
Muy bien.
going to find in those ruins now.
¿Dónde está el colega? Pensaba que iba a estar en el mismo lado. Eres cree que lleva vital para mantener el escudo de la cúpula en funcionamiento. Ojo tú, yo creo que se ha bugueado. Ah, no, vale. Ahí está el pavo.
Am I crazy, or is our generator power fluctuating?
The B series was
Not
never
again.
Mecánico. Me cago en la leche, tío. ¿Dónde está este hombre?
Lutz has the energy regulator.
Good. The dome should be more stable now. I thank Kalan for sending you.
Vale. 150. A ver cuántos créditos tenemos. 722. A ver si con eso podemos empezar a vender. O sea, a vender, joder, estoy yo apañado. A comprar alguna armadura o algo. Vamos a ver si... Vamos a hablar con esta tía.
Who are you?
You first. Come on. Who are you? There is something that is familiar about you, but I can't quite place it. No matter, I suppose. All people are welcome in Abessa, as long as they are prepared to forget their past. Even Albs are allowed in here. I think Albs would be perfect people if they weren't so emotionless. But then, that is why they are the only faction I have never belonged to.
What do you mean? You mean you want to become an elf?
That's a long story. If you're really interested in my tale, then I will tell you, of course.
Calculated interest in human narrative. Interest at 0%. Deactivating attention unit.
Tell me your story. How did you end up joining the clerics?
Right, I'll give you the full version. Well, the short version of the full version.
Just get on with it.
Okay, I'll try to keep it short. So, I grew up in Goliath in Adan. My father and mother were both born berserkers, and so that meant I was too. Back then, Hajar ruled over Goliath. As a child, I had no interest in the laws, of course. But when I was about 12 years old, one of the warlords came to our home. He took my parents, and I was left on my own to survive in the city. I remember him. I remember my parents leaving. And I remember me screaming. But everything else is gone. It's just a blur.
What happened to your parents?
Well, what else? They were exiled. Nobody ever told me why they were exiled. I still don't know what they did, even today. I hate the Berserker laws. Nothing against the Berserkers. They're just people. It's the laws I hate. I think what the Berserkers want to do with Magalan is right. But I can never forgive them for what they did to my parents. Why was I punished for whatever my parents did? Why wasn't I told what had happened? I swore never to return, and I haven't set foot in Adan again.
Where did you go?
Wherever I needed to survive. That meant running from reavers and wild animals. It didn't take long for some reavers to take me captive. And then, I don't want to talk about that. I was lucky, though. After several years, the reavers were attacked by some of the Duke's outlaws, and they took me back to Tavar. I learned how to fight, how to live off scrap. Life wasn't much different from Edan, but there wasn't the same raptor shit. The laws. You could be who you were, and no one judged you.
Then why didn't you remain with the outlaws?
Because the reavers who'd taken me captive came to the fort and wanted to speak to the Duke. I think they wanted to take me back. I fled when they saw me. I didn't want to be taken back, or for them to kill me to hide their crime. When I left the fort, I ran into a cleric patrol. They convinced me to go to the Hort with them. Not that I really needed that much convincing. All those hours taking scrap apart and putting it back together in Tavar really paid off there. The clerics recognized that I was good with technology. So, I've been working on mechs and AI systems since then. Building things. Trusted. Part of a team. And it's easier being with mechs. They don't judge anyone. They treat everyone the same. Like this place. I know it's not perfect. But outlaws, berserkers, clerics, even elves are seen as people. At least that's the vision. Not always the way it happens. That's another reason to maintain these mechs. To protect what we have here. Well, I hope you find your place in the world. It's good when you do.
Vale. Nos ha contado aquí una historieta. A ver si este tío me puede dar alguna misión más. Pues no. Vale. Pues habrá que seguir. Vamos a buscar gente para poder meternos a una misión más. Esto es una proscrita. Estos tienen pinta de proscritos, tío. Por lo que veo aquí en esta ciudad hay una mezcolanza de gente que flipas, macho. Separatista. Esto es un álbum.
Cooper, outlaw. You fled here from Tavar, is that you?
Mira, Cooper.
What do you want? You know what this is.
Fuck.
You're lucky you're getting a chance. You will leave the city. Be grateful you're being allowed to live. You will go to your camp and be happy to stay there.
I must leave. I will be grateful. I will be happy to stay in my camp.
Mira, ha tenido suerte el chaval. Han dejado pirarse, por lo menos. Al final hemos conseguido lo que querían los otros. Era que el otro pudiese salir de la ciudad. A ver, vamos a hablar con este. No puedo hablar con él. Pues vamos a dar una vuelta por la ciudad. Para ver si encontramos NPCs que nos puedan dar alguna misión o algo. Pues ya os digo que la intención es ganar la confianza de los clérigos para poder unirnos a ellos. Porque creo que todavía no estamos unidos a ellos. Pasa que veo... Aquí hay de todo, tú. Aquí berserkers, tío. Encuentro más gente de otras facciones que los propios clérigos como tal, macho.
The gift and treasures of travel, for it brings new encounters. So what are you? Merchant? Bounty hunter? Or a nobody, like most people out there?
I was an elf once.
And you go around admitting that? And you're still alive? How'd you manage that?
Let's just say it's complicated.
Yeah, I can imagine. You anything to do with these separatists? Why are there so many of you guys coming to the Dome City?
You'll have to ask the separatists. I'm not one of them.
And I guess that's what I have to do. I was hoping you would have an answer. But as far as I see it, the way we are now, we should get along wonderfully with each other. I mean, otherwise, you wouldn't have even spoken to me, right?
How do people live here?
Here, smoke one with me, before you start bombarding me with questions, yeah? I have the best stuff here.
I don't smoke.
Well, that's your choice. From time to time, you need to open a door in your head and look inside, right? But if you won't, then all the more for me. That done, let's get into the real business.
What business?
Real business. proper opportunity. You see, the clerics have had this city under their control for years, and the Duke thinks they're planning to take control everywhere, sooner or later. And he thinks the Dome City could be the starting point for their military campaign. So, my job is to find out if he's right, if there is something brewing that could be dangerous for us in Tavar.
What information have you gathered about the clerics?
Pretty much nothing so far. They've not been very loose-lipped around me. I must sorta stand out.
So, you want me to be your spy?
I want you to find out information. Now, I can see in your eyes that you haven't fallen for the cleric's tricks. You aren't simple enough to believe every piece of troll shit you're fed.
What do you expect from me?
All that you have to do is get some answers out of somebody, and I've even got the guy lined up ready for you. His name is Lutz. He's one of Alois's technicians. As far as I know, he's trying to re-establish communications with the other clerics in Ignadon. While Alois will tell you the clerics here are neutral, separate from the ones in the Horde. Go and grill Lutz. Find out if there'll be an offensive soon. Do that, then come back to me as soon as you have any useful information.
Temporary access to internal databanks requires access authorization.
No, buddy. I mean other information, but thanks for the offer.
Estoy pensando en liársela. Los proscritos, la verdad es que no los quiero ni en pintura. Estoy pensando en liársela porque estoy seguro que igual que hemos podido liarla cuando hemos cogido la misión del proscrito que nos ha dado la información, el pase falso, creo que podemos luego decirle a esta gente, oye tú, tenéis admitido aquí en la ciudad a un pavo que os está espiando porque cree que les vais a atacar y ganarnos aún más la confianza. En ese sentido podríamos ser unos grandísimos hijos de puta. Vamos a hacer eso. Vamos a hacer eso.
How many shards are you talking about?
Enough. The Duke is generous. I pay. That much you can be sure of.
Why do you think that these technicians will know about the cleric's plans?
Because he's the guy that maintains all the communications equipment. He must have heard something from the comms. And he's more likely to talk than anyone further up the chain. I want to know what he's heard. I need to know what he knows. I have to go.
Vamos a ver si podemos, como digo, liársela. Vamos a ver si podemos liársela. Espero que esto no me lleve al final a terminar perteneciendo a los proscritos, que es la facción que en ese sentido más asco me da del juego. Si no sería para partirme el culo de risa.
I heard you are having trouble establishing communications with the Horde in Ignadon.
That is just... Wait. How do you know that? That's confidential.
One of the outlaws told me.
The outlaws? The last thing we need is for them to know about our problems. Do you think it's just one outlaw that knows, or do they all know?
I have no idea.
That is a worry, a real worry. Well, we can't waste any more time. We need to fix that comms relay station before anyone tries to take advantage of our problems. Since you're in the know, can you help me?
We might be able to come to an agreement.
An agreement? Okay, sure, an agreement. As long as you help. If you don't help us, we could lose everything we have here. And if things fall apart out there, you can be certain that it will get bloody for everyone.
What's so important about fixing your communications right now?
We're awaiting the delivery of some combat mechs. But they haven't arrived, and we've no way to check why without communications being re-established. That's why we've got to get the link back up now, so we can find out what's going on.
I could go to the Horde and find out what's going on.
Sure, that would help for this. But you can't keep going back and forth for us. No, we have to re-establish ongoing contact. And that means fixing the comm link. We need to get this fixed as soon as possible. And please, please, keep this problem confidential. Otherwise, we are very likely to face even greater challenges. Here are the coordinates of the relay station that's gone down. It's over to the northeast of the city. Head that way and keep looking out for an antenna on the horizon. But I have no idea what the issue is there. You might be able to fix it at the bottom, but there's a chance you might have to climb the antenna mast. There will be a device somewhere on site that you can use to recalibrate the antenna. I hope that'll be enough to fix the problem.
Vale. La tenemos activa la misión esta. Ojo, macho. Se ha pillado ahí. A ver. Si lo tenemos. Marcármelo. A ver, ¿dónde es? Joder. A ver. Ostras, es lejos, tú. Vale, es aquí. Podemos viajar aquí directamente. Vale, hostias. Sé dónde es. Sé dónde es porque aquí, por aquí estuvimos, que aquí había albos, creo, tío. Ostras, pues puede ser complicado, ¿eh? Vamos a ver si podemos hacerlo sin enfrentarnos. De todas formas, antes de irnos, voy a ver si encuentro algún comerciante de clérigos para poder intentar comprar equipamiento. Porque tenemos 722 créditos. Vamos a ver si con un poquito de suerte con estos créditos si nos da para algo, tío. Lo que pasa es que, joder, ¿dónde habrá un comerciante de clérigos? Porque lo que quiero es material de clérigos, no de ni de berserkers ni de proscritos. Quiero empezar a tener equipación de clérigo, la verdad. Por cierto, cuestión... sí que hemos subido, vale. Vamos a ver primero lo que nos interesa. Nos interesa la química, ¿vale? La química nos hace falta 5 puntos. Luego... voy a reservarme.
Analyzing. Useful object. Acquired.
Thanks. I can find a use for that.
No sé para qué servirá el Elex natural. Si es como créditos, a ver, vamos a mirarlo. No, porque tenemos los mismos créditos. ¿Dónde puede haber comerciantes, tío? Es que encima estas casas me parecen muy de berserkers. Es que esto es como si fuese un distrito de berserkers, macho. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Te rayas porque me he metido en tu casa o algo? ¿O qué? A lo mejor tendríamos que meternos más dentro de la ciudad. Lo que es como en el fortín este, y a lo mejor ahí tenemos los comerciantes que estoy buscando. Estos son camas, tío. Digo, son camas.
should heal those wounds.
Guardia nocturno, muy bien.
You are not permitted to
Vale,
be
vale,
here.
vale, 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 colega, no te rayes, no te rayes, tranquilo, hijo. Hostias, cómo se rayan, macho.
That's the right decision.
¡Hala, qué bugazo!, ¿no? ¿Dónde hay comerciantes de los clérigos aquí, tío? Al final voy a tener que intentar comprarme algo rollo de Berserker, tío, en serio. Sugestionar.
Move along, civilian.
Puedo entrar aquí. Mira, ahí hay como una especie de mostrador. Vamos a ver si este tío...
Yes. Is there something urgent? I have a lot to do, as you can imagine. This city does not run itself. So, please excuse me if I'm short with you. This city is made up of a whole mass of confusion. Everyone looking for a new start. No one able to forget their past. They need a leader to hold things together.
You're in charge here?
Well, let's say that I'm the person holding all these threads together. There's no ruler here, we all work together. Everyone here wants something. Whatever you're searching for, it will only add to the list of demands we already face. And providing for the people we already have is a logistical challenge. That means to accommodate everyone we're on strict rations, and those rations have to be earned.
Calculating food consumption. Approximately 171,000 kilos of food will be required per year with the current population. Would you like an analysis of the component elements?
Your drone could be very helpful. Would you
No.
No. I still need it.
That's a shame.
How long have you been in charge of the Dome City?
I've been in office for 8 years now, and it hasn't been easy. Maintaining a neutral position to the factions while fighting the Albs. By Kalan, there really are more pleasant posts they could have appointed me to.
What if someone wanted to replace you?
Some have tried. Yet I am still here. This city was created by the Great Council of Magalan. They made the clerics custodians of this place and their legacy. The Great Council may be long gone, but what they stood for, a unity of purpose, a future for all of Magalan together, that is something we still believe in here. So, it is our job to remain neutral. It is our job to serve all, no matter their background, however hard our residents make it for us.
Are you having a lot of trouble here in the city?
Keeping the factions together is always an issue. The outlaws are always up to something, but things have gotten worse, and to cap it all, we've had a sharp rise in thefts. I believe an organized group has started operating here. Not the usual outlaws. This group seems to be outside the factions. From the little I've heard, they're more like a secret society than your regular set of theft mongers. I've offered a large bounty for any information that leads to their capture. And capture would be best. I want to find out who their connections are. If you can find out more about their secret society, I can make you rich.
Me puede interesar.
How are things here in the Dome City?
Tense. The battles out there are always reflected in here. Tensions run high if the outlaws attack the clerics, or the clerics attack the berserkers. And there's always the fear of an Alb invasion. Those tensions drive greed, anger, and fear. There is war out there, and here your shards will be stolen from your hand if you aren't careful. It's like the world has gone crazy.
Why have things become so bad?
That's a whole host of reasons. Maybe it would help you if I tell you how things are. The Berserkers have lived more and more reclusively ever since the Pilgrim went into his retreat. The outlaws are more organized now the Duke has taken power, and the Alb separatists seek shelter with us to escape the powers in Zakor. All told, very dark signs that we face another global catastrophe. And here we are, in the middle.
Is there something I can help you with?
If you want to help, there is something that has to be taken care of quickly. You must have noticed that the mood is very heated here. One more issue, one wobble, and everything we've held together here will fall to pieces. One of my people has reported that the outlaws are expecting a weapons delivery. The last thing that this city needs is more weapons. And who knows who the outlaws will sell them to. I want you to intercept this delivery and bring it to me.
About the outlaws' weapons delivery. You've been using informers to try and catch them?
Of course. Information is key to keeping the peace. But there are always things you miss. And missing things leads to nasty surprises. And I'd rather be the one dealing those out than receiving them. Particularly when it comes to outlaws. Are you going to show me that you are the exception?
I'll take care of that problem for you.
Good. Very well then. Your target is a woman. Her name is Paige. Get her talking and hope that she brings you in on her plan. Take these shards. You may need them to buy yourself some trust. You'll have to find Paige yourself. She's a slippery customer.
Contact? Is there something I should know about her?
Apart from the fact that she's one of the outlaws, no. As soon as you get those weapons or any information, just make sure you bring them to me.
Vale. Pues... Joder, tío. ¿Dónde están los comerciantes en esta maldita ciudad, macho? Que de hecho por fuera parece más grande de luego lo que está siendo. Me jodas, tío. Mira, aquí está la pava.
You gotta think before you go out and do that.
Nothing is free in life.
Huh. What do we have here? Fresh meat?
Incorrect statement. My magnesium alloy consists of 0% fresh meat.
I didn't mean you, drone.
Analyzing. No one here is fresh. Would advise alternative sustenance.
Yeah, thanks for the advice. How did you get the guard to let you into the dome? I'd watch out. They're probably trying to recruit you. You wouldn't be the first to come here looking for shelter only to end up bowing down to Kalan. However you got in, you're going to find it even harder to get out. The clerics are a little jumpy at the moment. You might say paranoid. So, when they do let someone in, it does make me wonder who they are and why the clerics thought letting them in was a good idea.
If it's so hard to get in, what are you doing here?
I got in before things got so paranoid. And I came here for profit, of course. Lots of nervous people close to the Alps tend to be willing to invest shards in their safety, you see. And getting hold of supplies is hard out here. So, if you can get them, you can sell them for a high price. Well, that was the plan. Now, the clerics have stopped me trading and cut off all the supplies.
And you just let them do that?
Of course I didn't let them. But getting around their ban isn't simple. It's impossible to get by the guards without an ID card. And they took mine from me as part of their crackdown. Now they say I'm causing trouble. But what else is a businesswoman supposed to do when she has her business taken from her?
About your trade ban.
Yeah, don't tell me. Trading weapons can pose a danger to the community. But this is about self-defense. The only person who can stop a person with a gun is a person with an even bigger gun. Am I right? I mean, what? Are we supposed to throw rocks at the Albs when they attack? But the clerics want to keep all the guns for themselves and screw the rest of us. They call it neutrality, but I say it's oppression.
Sounds like you could use some help.
Yes. Yes, I could. Still, let's say he's right. And that I could get a hold of supplies. Not from Tavar, obviously. They've blocked that route. Let's say I could get some weapons from the Separatists, for example. Let's say they have weapons and need shards. And that they also have the business acumen of a stunned troll, so they need a salesperson. Me, for example. What if I was to say that? And what if I was to say that I have to find someone who could enter and leave this city freely? If I was to say that, then what would you say?
Do you really think you can trust the Separatists?
I can't leave without profit. Hell, right now I can't eat without profit. So I need this deal. So if you blab, what have I lost? Nothing. And without any guns to show, it's just your word against mine. And even Alois isn't going to see that as justice.
I could help you get your weapons.
Good. Right. So, this is what you need to do. Leave the city and find a separatist called Radok. I think he's a separatist. But whatever he is, he's a mad fucker. I can't make sense of most of what he says. But he has the weapons, and he likes trade. I think he likes trade. It's hard to tell. He wants to sell the weapons, but you'll have to work on him, okay? He won't just hand them over.
Where can I find Radok?
Up in the Highlands. When we last spoke, he told me he was going to head over to the northeast. He mentioned an abandoned wind turbine. With luck, he'll still be out there.
Vale, pues lo que haríamos con esto sería conseguir las armas de este pavo. Pues está, sí, de este pavo, del pavo que tenemos que hablar. Y ya de ahí, en vez de entregárselas a estas, dárselas a los clérigos y así ganamos más confianza con los clérigos hasta pertenecer a ellos. Pues gente, creo que lo vamos a dejar por aquí. Y va.
Have you got a few shards for a veteran? Help me out and I'll tell you about the city.
Analyzing. Small donation recommended. Local intelligence would be valuable.
If you need intelligence, I'm your man. Nothing gets by me.
There, take this.
Thanks. Thank you. Oh, I won't forget this. And since you have helped me, I'll make sure my contacts hear about it. You help me, I'll help you. Come back in a few days, yeah? I'll have something that might interest you.
Eso espero, compañero. Pues lo que estaba diciendo, creo que lo vamos a dejar por aquí. Ha sido un gameplay bastante más aburrido porque nos hemos tirado más tiempo hablando y dando vueltas por la ciudad que otra cosa. Pero bueno, en el próximo gameplay ya saldremos de la ciudad y haremos tanto lo de la antena como lo de las armas. Y una vez eso, pues a ver si conseguimos con esas dos acciones conseguir la suficiente reputación con los clérigos para pertenecer a ellos. Y a ver si de esas conseguimos enterarnos si aquí dentro de esta ciudad, que por la pinta que tiene, hay algún comerciante de armas o armaduras. Sobre todo lo que más me interesaría ahora mismo son armaduras. Me gustaría estar un poquito mejor equipado a nivel de blindaje. Y si no, pues estábamos por lo que se ve, esto es como una ciudad fronteriza, una ciudad nueva que han fundado los clérigos y realmente la ciudad buena está en otro lado. A ver si con un poquito de suerte, pues lo dicho, conseguimos, si no es aquí, ir a otra ciudad de clérigos y conseguir armas. Porque ya os digo que la intención que tengo es intentar conseguir armaduras y armas de los clérigos y deshacerme un poco pues del arco y las flechas y del casco este de cuero, y bueno, equipar más y poder empezar a invertir mejor los créditos en ese tipo de equipación. Si vemos que no lo encontramos, pues bueno, a lo mejor volveríamos a la ciudad de Goliath e intentaríamos ahí ya comprar alguna armadura, aunque sea de Berserker, un poquito mejor, hasta que más avanzados en el juego pues podamos encontrar los sitios donde nos ofrezcan el tipo de armaduras y de armas que quiero para nuestro personaje. Así que poco más, gente, espero que os haya gustado el gameplay, darle like si os gustó, que siempre se agradece, y nos vemos en el próximo gameplay de Elex. Así que, gente, chao.